country of Mexico, also referred to as the Land of Enchantment, is bordered by the United States in the north and Guatemala and Belize in the south. Mexico is made up of 31 states and one federal district. In Mexico, the weather varies with elevation and region. The north tends to be more dry and hot, where there is a much larger desert region. In the southeast regions of Mexico, the humidity tends to be higher due to more tropical jungles and coastal areas. Mexico is spread over 756,000 square miles and holds a population over 115 million people. The majority of the Mexican population lives in urban areas such as Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. The official language of Mexico is Spanish. About 60% of Mexico's population is of mixed Spanish and indigenous descent. About 30% of the population belong to various indigenous groups, and roughly 9% is of European ancestry. The President of Mexico is Enrique Peña Nieto. As the President, he is also the head of state and the head of government. He is elected by popular vote and can only serve one 6-year term. The capital of Mexico is Mexico City. It was built in the 1520s over the Aztec Empire. Today, Mexico City is one of the largest cities in the world and holds a population of roughly 21 million people. Many people rely on public transportation in Mexico City. Buses and minibuses are one of the most common uses of public transportation in Mexico City due to them being inexpensive and plentiful.
Mexico City today. Mexico City is the capital of the country and its most important economic and political center. It covers less than 0.1% of the country's total surface, and 10% of the Mexican population lives in it. Its territorial extension is of 1,500 square kilometers, of which 42% are green areas. We are about 8.7 million residents, and there are 2.5 million houses, giving an average of 3.5 people per house. During the day, we receive 4 million workers, bringing the population of users up to 13 million. Therefore, Mexico City isn't the most populated city in the world. 80% of the inhabitants travel by public transport, using subway, metrobus, bus, trolley, taxi, or even riding bicycles. In Mexico City, there are about 22 million trips a day.
When visiting Mexico, you cannot go wrong with the food. Most Mexican foods include corn, beans, rice, and chilies, which are typically combined with vegetables, spices, meats, or fish. Mariachi music has become very popular not only to Mexican audiences but also international audiences. Most mariachi bands consist of a singer, violins, trumpets, and various guitars. Another popular form of entertainment and a must-see is the Ballet Folclórica de Mexico. They perform Mexican folk dances and can be seen in Mexico City. One of Mexico's most well-known traditions is Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. It is celebrated every year on the 1st and 2nd of November. Families gather to celebrate life and honor their family members who have passed.
At the end of October and beginning of November, another fiesta is celebrated, El Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead.
You always have to remember that for Mexicans, death was part of life. For us, it was like going from day to night. So we didn't feel something that we were losing, it was just a step more.
In the rural areas and near graves, it's believed that the souls of children come back on the 1st or on the eve of the 1st and then go back to the grave, and that the souls of adults come back on the following day.
The 2nd of November, which is the Day of the Dead. And from there comes this custom of putting what they want to call now altars. They're not altars to the dead. They're offerings to the dead, because the dead come and visit us. So what we do is we put an offering for them so that they feel at home, so that they recognize what they had while they were living.
Nothing compares to the atmosphere of a Mexican soccer game. Soccer is by far the most popular sport in Mexico and attracts the most spectators. Even though Mexico has never won a World Cup, they have some of the most passionate fans in the world. If you are interested in seeing a soccer game while in Mexico, visit El Estadio Azteca. It is the largest soccer stadium in Mexico and is home to the Mexican soccer team as well as a few smaller teams. Chichen Itza is the second most visited archaeological site in Mexico. It is a pre-Columbian city that was built by the Mayans. It is located in the Mexican state of Yucatan. The most well-known structure in Chichen Itza is the Kukulkan Pyramid. Another significant historical site to see in Mexico is Tulum. Tulum is the most visited archaeological site in Mexico, and there are many reasons why. It is another pre-Columbian city built by the Mayans, but its ruins are situated on a cliff along the coast of the Caribbean Sea. It is definitely one sight to see in Mexico. If you want to learn more about the history of Mexico, go to the National Museum of Anthropology. This museum is the National Museum of Mexico and gets over 2 million visitors a year. It is most well known for its architecture and artifacts dating back to the pre-Columbian ages. If you are tired of learning about the history of Mexico and you just want to relax, don't worry, because Mexico is home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. One of the most visited beaches in Mexico is Cancun. Cancun is a world-renowned tourist destination. Cancun is located on the Yucatan Peninsula and in the Mexican state of Quintana Roo. Cancun sure has it all, from its beautiful beaches to its sky-towering resorts.
The Mexican resort city of Cancun is situated in Yucatan, a peninsula bathed by the warm waters of the Caribbean Sea. Once the center of a flourishing Mayan empire, the Yucatan Peninsula is renowned for tropical forests, incredible coastlines, and its proximity to one of the world's greatest reef systems.
Besides its beautiful beaches and resorts, Cancun is famously known for its nightlife. After dark, it is said Cancun has something for everybody, from dance clubs to parties, festivals, shows, restaurants, and live music. If you want to have fun, Cancun is the place to be. Mexico is renowned worldwide for its scuba diving, especially in Cozumel. Cozumel is an island off of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. With 18 miles of reefs and 200 species of tropical fish, it makes Cozumel truly one of the most ideal spots to dive in the world. Whether it's going to historical sites and learning about the history of Mexico, or relaxing on the beach and going scuba diving the next day, Mexico has so many things to do, making it truly the land of enchantment.